In October of 1964, Padre Pio issued a warning, a prophecy that very few Catholics even know about. He spoke of the eve of the 23rd, specifically the dawn of the 22nd, as the last doorway of preparation before heaven opens completely. And anyone who doesn't pass through this doorway in the correct way could lose everything they've built up in the days before. Everything. In just 24 hours, the divine gateway will open, and you need to be ready. But there's a crucial detail that no one has told you. It was 5 a.m. on October 22, 1964. Padre Pio was in San Giovanni Rotondo, still in the dim light before sunrise. A group of 7 pilgrims had arrived the night before, exhausted but filled with anticipation. They had traveled all the way from Rome, specifically to be there on the eve of the 23rd. They knew something extraordinary was about to happen, but they didn't know what, and they didn't know how to prepare. When Padre Pio came down to the chapel at 5:15 a.m., he found those 7 kneeling, praying the rosary. He stopped at the doorway, remaining silent for almost 3 minutes, just watching. Then, with that deep, resonant voice that seemed to pierce the soul, he said something that would change the lives of those 7 forever. And it will change yours too. Padre Pio said, "The last 24 hours before the 23rd are not a time for rest. They are a time for final sealing. Heaven has already cracked open in the days before, but at the first light of the 22nd, at the precise dawn, there's a 3-hour window where what you do will determine whether you enter the gateway or remain outside, looking in." One of the pilgrims, Michael Harrison, wrote down every word. This notebook was discovered in 1998 in the archives of San Giovanni Rotondo. And what was written inside is what you're about to discover now. Because today, as you watch this video, we are on the eve of the 23rd, and you need to know exactly what to do at the dawn of the 22nd, or risk losing the greatest spiritual opportunity of the year. Padre Pio explained that the 22nd is the day of sealing. It's not a day for asking, it's not a day for begging, it's a day to seal what has already been prepared, as if it were a spiritual package that you've assembled over the previous days, and now need to seal, protect, consecrate. Because without the sealing on the eve, everything scatters when the gateway opens. He used an image that remained etched in Michael's mind. He said this: "Imagine a mason jar filled with anointing oil. You've spent days filling this jar with prayers, sacrifices, consecrations. The jar is full, but if you don't put the lid on at the right moment, the oil spills out when the wind from heaven blows, and the wind from heaven will blow hard on the 23rd. And here comes the detail that changes everything. Padre Pio revealed that the exact moment of sealing is at the dawn of the 22nd, not during the day, not at night, at dawn. Why? Because the dawn of the 22nd is Mary's last hour. After that, the final countdown begins for the 23rd, which is Christ's Day. And Mary, as mother, closes her mantle at dawn and hands everything over to the sun when the sun has fully risen. The 7 pilgrims asked, "But Padre, what exactly do we do at dawn?" Padre Pio then revealed the ritual, simple but absolutely precise. He said that 3 specific sacred elements are required, and each one has an exact spiritual function in the sealing. Without all 3, the sealing remains incomplete, and an incomplete sealing is like a door left ajar. The wind gets in, but so does what shouldn't get in. First element, fresh holy water. Fresh means blessed within the last 7 days. Why? Because holy water. According to Padre Pio, has a spiritual force that dissipates over time when exposed to the environment. It's not that it loses the blessing, but it loses its intensity. It's like a medicine that has an expiration date. The substance is still there, but the potency diminishes. And for the sealing on the eve of the 23rd, you need water with maximum potency. Padre Pio said something even more specific. He said that the water should be placed in a clear glass container, and that container should be exposed to the first light of dawn on the 22nd. Why? Because the light of dawn has unique spiritual properties. It's not ordinary light. It's the light of transition between darkness and day. It's the light that Mary blesses before handing the day over to the sun. And when the holy water receives this light, it becomes, in Padre Pio's words, sealing water. Michael noted that Padre Pio used the term aqua sigilli, sealing water, like melted wax that closes an important letter, and you will use this water in 3 specific ways throughout the 22nd. I'll explain those 3 ways in just a moment. But first, the other 2 elements. Second element, a blessed rosary that you've used in the last 7 days. It can't be a new rosary. It can't be a rosary that was stored away. It must be the rosary that has accompanied you in the days of preparation. Why? Because every Hail Mary you've prayed with that rosary has impregnated the beads with your spiritual intention. Every Our Father has left an energetic mark, a devotional frequency, and on the 22nd, you will use this charged rosary as an instrument of anchoring. Padre Pio explained that the rosary on the 22nd has a different function than on other days. It's not for asking, it's for anchoring. Anchoring means fixing in the spiritual plane, everything that you've built up. It's like driving a stake into the ground, so that the tent doesn't blow away in the wind. The rosary is the spiritual stake, and you will put it through a specific process at dawn that will transform it into your personal seal. Third element, a new white candle. White, not another color. New, never lit before. Padre Pio was emphatic about this. The candle represents the light that you will offer to heaven at the moment of sealing. But it's not just any light. It's virgin light, never burned, pure. Because in the sealing, you don't offer something used, something that has already given what it had to give. You offer something new, something complete, something that has never been touched by fire. Michael asked, "Padre, when do we light the candle?" Padre Pio responded, "At the exact instant that the first light of the sun touches the horizon. Not before, because it's still night. Not after, because it's already day. At the instant of transition, that second, where darkness surrenders to light, that is the moment of sealing. And here comes something that will move you. Padre Pio said that the candle must burn for exactly 23 minutes. No more, no less. Why 23 minutes? Because it's an anticipated consecration to the 23rd. Each minute of the flame represents an hour of the next day. And when the flame goes out, the sealing is done. The gateway is prepared to open. The 7 pilgrims remained silent, absorbing every word. Then one of them, a woman named Sarah Miller, is asked a crucial question. "Padre, what if someone doesn't have these 3 elements? If they can't get fresh holy water? Or if the rosary is new? Or if they don't have a white candle? Do they lose everything?" Padre Pio took a deep breath, and he said something that reveals the divine mercy, even in the precision of the ritual. He said this: "If someone doesn't have all 3 elements, but has a prepared heart, God supplies what's lacking, But know that having all three elements isn't difficult. It's an act of obedience, and obedience to spiritual details is what separates those who enter from those who watch from the sidelines. He continued, those who say they couldn't manage it often didn't prioritize it. Getting fresh holy water is going to church. Using a rosary in the last 7 days is praying. Having a white candle is providing. None of this is impossible. What is impossible is entering the divine gateway without passing through the door. And the door of the 22nd has requirements of love, not of punishment. Then Padre Pio revealed the complete protocol for the dawn of the 22nd. And this is what you'll do if you want to be ready for the 23rd. Listen with maximum attention, because every detail matters. First step, even before dawn, you prepare the space. It could be a room in your house. It could be a corner. It could be before a picture of Mary. The important thing is that it's a place where you won't be interrupted for at least 30 minutes. You place the three elements on a clean surface, the container with holy water in the center, the rosary on the right, the candle on the left. Don't light the candle yet, don't touch the water yet, just arrange everything. Second step, you await the first light. And here, Padre Pio made a recommendation that few understand. He said that you shouldn't mark the time on a clock. You should feel the dawn. How? By being attentive to the change in temperature, to the sound of the first birds, to the light that begins to enter through the window. Dawn isn't a fixed time. It's a phenomenon, and you need to be present for it, not dependent on a clock. When the first light appears, you take the third step. Light the candle, and the moment the flame is born, you say in a low but clear voice, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I seal this 22nd day as the sacred eve of the 23rd. May everything I have prepared be protected. May everything I have consecrated be accepted. May everything I offer be received. Amen. Fourth step. Immediately after lighting the candle, you take the container with holy water and raise it to eye level, facing the light of dawn that is entering. You let the light pass through the water for 30 seconds. And while the light passes through, you pray 3 Hail Marys in mental silence. Why 3? For the 3 virtues of Mary: purity, obedience, love. And why in mental silence? Because it's a prayer between you and Mary, without human witnesses, without audible words. It's a silent pact. Fifth step, you place the water back in the center, take the rosary with both hands, and hold it over the flame of the candle, without burning it, just feeling the warmth, and you say, Mary, this rosary has accompanied me in the days of preparation. Now I offer it as a seal of my devotion. May it be the chain that binds me to your heart and to the heart of Christ. Amen. While you say this, Padre Pio instructed that you should feel the weight of the rosary, not physical weight, spiritual weight. It's the load of prayers that those beads carry. And when you feel that weight, you kiss the crucifix of the rosary and place it back on the right. Sixth step. The most important, you dip the fingers of your right hand in the holy water that has been crossed by the light and make the sign of the cross on your forehead, saying, I seal myself for the 23rd. Then on your chest, saying, my heart is prepared. Then on both hands, saying, my works are offered. And finally on both feet, saying, my steps are consecrated. Padre Pio explained that this gesture of sealing the forehead, the chest, the hands, and the feet covers the 4 dimensions of the human being: the mind, forehead, the heart, chest, the action, hands, and the walking, feet. When you seal these 4 dimensions with water crossed by the light of dawn, you become a closed vessel, protected, ready to receive what the 23rd will bring. Seventh step. You remain in silence. just watching the candle burn until it goes out naturally or until 23 minutes are complete. During these minutes, you don't pray anything specific. You just remain. Pure presence, total attention, silent expectation. It's a time of active waiting where you don't do, but are completely present in what is being done in the spiritual realm. When the 23 minutes pass, or when the candle goes out, the sealing is complete. And then comes the final instruction that Padre Pio gave that morning in 1964. He said, "After the sealing, you have 24 hours to live as sealed vessels. This means that you avoid arguments, avoid excessive distractions, avoid waste of spiritual energy. It's not isolation, it's conservation. You keep yourselves sealed until the 23rd arrives." Michael Harrison noted in his notebook that Padre Pio used the word conservare, conserve, like a fine wine is conserved in a well-sealed bottle. You don't open the bottle before the time. You don't shake the bottle. You keep it at rest, protected until the right moment to open it. And here is the fatal error that prevents thousands of Catholics from receiving the graces of the 23rd. The error is they do the entire preparation ritual in the days before. They pray, they fast, they consecrate, they ask. But on the 22nd, on the eve, they relax. They think, "I've done my part and now I just have to wait." And in this relaxation, they open breaches. They start complaining about small things. They argue with family members. They get distracted by trivialities. They waste energy on empty conversations. And when the 23rd arrives, the vessel is cracked. The oil has leaked. The sealing has undone. Padre Pio was categorical with those 7 pilgrims. He said, "The 22nd is more important than all the previous days together, because it's the day of final protection. It's the day where you say to heaven, 'I am ready. Seal me, keep me, prepare me.' And if you don't say this in the correct way, heaven cannot act in fullness, not because God is limited, but because you haven't given total permission through the ritual." Sarah Miller asked, "Father, what happens to those who miss the dawn of the 22nd, who wake up late or can't do the ritual? Do they lose everything?" Padre Pio looked at her with those eyes that seemed to see beyond time and said, "There is an emergency protocol, but it only works if the person has a legitimate reason for having missed the dawn: illness, unavoidable obligation, real emergency. It doesn't work for laziness or forgetfulness, because heaven is merciful, but it isn't negligent. The emergency protocol, according to Padre Pio, can be done until noon on the 22nd, but it doesn't have the same potency as the dawn protocol. It's like comparing a medication at full dosage with the same medication at half dose. It works, it relieves, it protects, but it doesn't have the complete power. That's why Padre Pio recommended that those who are still in time should make every effort to wake up at dawn. Michael noted that on that day in 1964, the 7 pilgrims slept little. They stayed awake almost all night, afraid of missing the sunrise. And when the first light appeared, all 7 of them were ready, with the 3 elements prepared. And they did exactly as Padre Pio had instructed. Later that morning, they returned to give thanks. And Padre Pio said something that stayed with them. "You have passed through the door. Now await the divine gateway." Passing through the door is the sealing of the 22nd. Awaiting the divine gateway is waiting for the opening of the 23rd. These are 2 different things. The door is the preparation. The gateway is the manifestation. And without passing through the door, you cannot enter when the divine gateway opens. But wait, because there's something even more profound that Padre Pio revealed about the 22nd, something that most people don't know, and that can make all the difference between receiving 10% of the grace or 100% of the grace of the 23rd. Padre Pio said that the 22nd has three distinct spiritual moments. The first moment is dawn, which you already know, is the moment of sealing. The second moment is noon, which is the moment of confirmation. And the third moment is evening, which is the moment of vigil. Noon on the 22nd is the moment of confirmation. What does that mean? It means that after you have done the sealing at dawn, you return to the same place at noon to confirm the sealing. How do you confirm? In a simple but powerful way. At noon on the 22nd, you relight a white candle. It can be the same one you used in the morning if there's anything left, or it can be another one. And you pray an Our Father aloud, asking the Father to confirm the seal that you placed in the morning. It's as if you are saying, Father, in the morning, I sealed myself in your name. Now, I ask you to confirm this seal with your divine authority. Padre Pio explained that noon is the moment where the sun is at its highest point. There are no shadows, everything is light, and that's exactly why it's the moment of confirmation, because in full light, nothing is hidden. So, when you ask for confirmation at noon, you are saying, Father, confirm this in total light, where everything is seen, where nothing is concealed. After the Our Father, you let the candle burn for as long as it wants to. It doesn't have to be 23 minutes like in the morning. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. The important thing is that you lit it, prayed, and let the light witness your confirmation. And then comes the third moment, the evening of the 22nd. This is the moment of vigil. Vigil means staying awake, staying alert, staying in a state of readiness. And Padre Pio recommended that in the evening of the 22nd, you set aside some time, even if it's only 15 minutes, to be silent, preferably before an image of Mary, just waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for the 23rd to begin. It's as if you were a soldier on the last night before the battle. You're not fighting yet, but you're awake, attentive, prepared. Your equipment is checked. Your armor is on, your weapon is sharpened, and you just await the order to advance. The evening of the 22nd is the last night before the 23rd. And Padre Pio said something beautiful about this night. He said that it's the night where Mary watches over you in a special way. It's as if she spends the night of the 22nd into the 23rd at your side, protecting you while you sleep, guarding your spiritual seal, preventing any attempt by the enemy to break what has been prepared. That's why Padre Pio recommended that before sleeping on the night of the 22nd into the 23rd, you pray a simple but sincere Hail Mary, asking, Mary, I have given myself to your care this 22nd day. Now, as I sleep, guard me. And when I wake up on the 23rd, may I wake up under your protective mantle, ready to receive what heaven has prepared. And you sleep. Sleep peacefully, sleep sealed, sleep protected, because you have done your part. And Mary is doing hers. Now, there's something I need to tell you about the 7 pilgrims of 1964. What happened to them on the 23rd? Michael Harrison documented everything. And what happened was so extraordinary that the local bishop opened a formal investigation. Not an investigation to punish, but an investigation to document, to witness, to officially record what God did. Of the 7 pilgrims, 5 had specific requests. One had a terminally ill child. Another had a broken marriage on the verge of divorce. Another had an unpayable debt that was driving the family into poverty. Another had a deep depression that medicine couldn't cure. And the last had turned away from the faith and was there at the insistence of his wife without really believing. On the 23rd, all 7 participated in Padre Pio's Mass. And during the Mass, each of them reported later, something happened. It wasn't the same for everyone, but it was real. for everyone. Some felt a warmth in their chest. Others felt a peace they had never felt. Others had an inexplicable inner certainty that something had changed. And others had brief visions, flashes of light, internal whispers. And here is the extraordinary thing. In the 30 days following the 23rd, all 5 requests were answered. The sick child had a recovery that doctors couldn't explain. The marriage that was over had a reconciliation that the wife herself described as miraculous. The debt was paid through a sequence of improbable events that seemed orchestrated by invisible hands. The depression dissolved without medical explanation, and the one who had turned away from the faith had a personal encounter with Christ that he could not deny. Michael Harrison wrote in his notebook, "I didn't see heaven open with my physical eyes on the 23rd, but I saw heaven open in the lives of those 5 brothers. And that was proof enough that Padre Pio was right. The 23rd is real. The divine gateway is real, and the preparation of the 22nd is indispensable. And now, decades later, you have access to the same knowledge that those 7 had. You know what to do at dawn on the 22nd. You know about the 3 elements. You know about the 7 steps. You know about the 3 moments of the day, dawn, noon, evening. And you know that the 22nd is not an ordinary day. It's the sacred eve. It's the last door before the divine gateway. But there's a warning that Padre Pio gave. And this warning is important for you to hear. He said, not everyone who does the ritual of the 22nd will receive what they ask for in the way they expect, because God is not a vending machine. God is Father, and a father gives what the child needs, not necessarily what the child wants. So, when you seal yourself on the 22nd, you are not guaranteeing that your desires will be fulfilled. You are guaranteeing that God's will for you on the 23rd will be full, complete, without obstacles on your part. That's a crucial distinction. The sealing of the 22nd is not magic. It's obedience. It's preparation. It's availability. You are saying to heaven, I am ready. Do in me what you need to do. I have removed the obstacles. I have opened myself. I have protected myself from distractions. Now, Father, act, and when you say it truthfully, with the 3 elements, with the 7 steps, with the 3 moments of the day, heaven acts. It might not be how you imagined, it might not be in the time you expected, but heaven acts because you walked through the divine gateway. Now, let me tell you something that happened in 1967, 3 years after that morning with the 7 pilgrims. A woman from Naples, named Sarah Miller, heard about the ritual of the 22nd, but she heard it incompletely, through a friend who knew a friend who had been to San Giovanni Rotondo. So she did the ritual, but she did it with some mistakes, and what happened to her is an important lesson for us all. Sarah did the ritual at dawn, but she used holy water that had been in her cabinet for months, maybe even years. She used a brand new rosary that she had never prayed with, and she lit a yellow candle because she didn't have a white one. She followed the 7 steps as best as she understood them, but the elements were wrong. On the 23rd, she expected to feel something special. She hoped for a clear answer to an urgent request. Her husband had been unemployed for 8 months, and the family was struggling. But the 23rd passed, and nothing happened. No feeling, no peace, no visible change. Sarah was disappointed, even bitter. She thought, another spiritual promise that didn't work, another devotion that only serves to deceive the desperate. And she almost gave up on her faith. But then, 2 weeks later, in November of 1967, she had the opportunity to go to San Giovanni Rotondo in person. And when she told Padre Pio what she had done and what hadn't happened, Padre Pio looked at her with those eyes that ached with such depth and said something she never forgot. He said, "My daughter, you tried to enter the divine gateway with the wrong keys. It's not that the gateway was closed, it's that your keys didn't unlock it. And the fault is not with God. It's with whoever gave you the instructions incompletely, and it's yours for not seeking the complete instructions before acting." Padre Pio continued, "But God's mercy is greater than our mistakes. If you wish, you can do the correct ritual on the next 22nd with the right elements, with the right steps, and heaven will receive it as if it were the first time." Sarah wept right there, and she promised Padre Pio that next year, in October of 1968, she would do everything exactly as it should be done. But here comes the detail that sends chills down your spine. Padre Pio died in September of 1968, 1 month before the 22nd of October. When Sarah heard of Padre Pio's death, she thought, "I've lost my chance. I've lost my guide. How will I do the ritual now without him?" But then she remembered something Padre Pio had said in that conversation in November of 1967. He said, "I will not always be physically present, but my prayers continue, and whoever follows the instructions I have left has my intercession even after I depart." So, in October of 1968, now with Padre Pio deceased, Sarah did the ritual of the 22nd exactly as she should. Recent holy water, rosary used in the 7 previous days, new white candle, the 7 steps at dawn, the confirmation at noon, the vigil at nightfall, and on the 23rd, she attended a Mass in memory of Padre Pio. And then it happened. Not during the Mass, but 3 days later, her husband, who had been unemployed for almost a year, received an unexpected job offer from a company where he had never applied. A manager saw his resume in an old database, felt a strong impression that he should called, and hired him the same day. The Miller family became financially stable in a matter of weeks, and Sarah knew, deep down in her soul, that it was an answer to the ritual of the 22nd. Not because she deserved it, but because she obeyed, and because Padre Pio interceded, even from heaven. This story teaches us something crucial. The details matter, not because God is bureaucratic, but because the details are signs of seriousness, of respect, of true intention. When you seek the right elements, when you follow the correct steps, when you respect the spiritual moments, you are saying, "I take this seriously," and heaven responds to those who take it seriously. So, if you are going to do the ritual of the 22nd, do it right. Don't invent. Don't improvise. Don't say, "Oh, this yellow candle will do. Oh, this new rosary will work. Oh, this old holy water still has power." It might, but it doesn't have the maximum potency. And on the 22nd, you want maximum potency. And look, if you are thinking, "But where do I get recent holy water? Where do I bless my rosary? Where do I find a white candle?" The answer is simple: at your parish. Any Catholic church has holy water available, any priest can bless your rosary, any religious store, or even supermarket, has a white candle. It's not difficult. It's a matter of prioritizing. And if you are far from a church, if you are in a place where you don't have immediate physical access, there is a beautiful thing that Padre Pio taught. You can ask God to bless the water you have. You place the water in a clean container. You make the sign of the cross over it. And you pray, "God the Father, now bless this water in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit," and the water is blessed. Not in the same sacramental way that a priest blesses it, but it is blessed by faith. And on the 22nd, if there is no other option, that water will do. The same with the rosary. If you don't have a rosary, you can use your fingers. The peasants of the Middle Ages did it that way. They counted the prayers on their fingers, and Mary accepted it. Because what matters is not the object. It's the devotion. But if you have access to the object, use the object. Because the physical object helps the mind to focus, helps the heart to concentrate, helps the spirit to anchor itself. And the white candle, if you really can't find one, you can use a candle of any color, as long as it is new, and you offer it with pure intention. God doesn't look at the color of the wax. God looks at the color of the soul. And if your soul is white before Him, the candle can even be black, and the sealing will work. But Padre Pio's recommendation remains, use the 3 ideal elements if you can, because the ideal opens the most direct path. Improvisation also arrives, but by a more tortuous path. Now, there is something I need to tell you before we continue. You have just received precious information. You know now what Padre Pio revealed in 1964 about the 22nd. You know about the 3 elements, the 7 steps, the 3 moments. You know the story of Michael Harrison, of the 7 pilgrims, of Sarah Miller. You hold in your hands a knowledge that most Catholics do not have. And this is not a privilege, it's a responsibility. Padre Pio once said, "To whom much is given, much will be required." If you have received these revelations, if you understand the power of the 22nd, if you now have the chance to prepare correctly, you have an obligation to do something with it. You can't just watch this video and go back to your normal life without applying anything, because then you become like that servant in the parable who buried his talent in the ground. And that's why the super thanks button down there isn't just a way to give financial support. It's you saying, I recognize the value of what I've received. I understand that these truths are rare, they're protected, they're powerful, and I want to be part of the people who keep them alive, and who spread them, who protect them. When you click on that golden heart, you become a guardian of these revelations. You become a spiritual soldier of Padre Pio, and you join a brotherhood, a sisterhood of souls who take this seriously. I'm not asking you to pay for the knowledge. The knowledge has already been given freely by Padre Pio out of love. I'm asking you to honor the knowledge, and one way to honor it is to support the people who brought it to you. You channels have the courage to reveal these things, because revealing attracts spiritual resistance, it attracts attacks, it attracts opposition, but revealing also saves souls, and you, who are being saved, can help save others. That's the cycle. That's the kingdom. So, if this video touched you, if you're going to do the ritual on the 22nd, if you feel that heaven brought you here, honor that. With a super thanks, with a testimonial comment, with a share, with a prayer for this channel. Be a guardian, not just a spectator. Now, let's get to what really matters. How do you live the 22nd after doing the sealing? You did the ritual at dawn, confirmed it at noon, kept vigil at nightfall. And now, how do you behave during the 24 hours between the 22nd and the 23rd? Padre Pio gave 5 practical recommendations for the 22nd that are pure spiritual gold. First recommendation, avoid arguments at all costs. And when I say at all costs, I mean it literally. If someone provokes you, if someone offends you, if someone tries to drag you into a verbal or emotional fight, you leave, you walk away, you don't respond. Why? Because arguing breaks the seal. Arguing opens a breach. Arguing wastes spiritual energy that you need to conserve for the 23rd. Padre Pio said this, on the 22nd, you are like a mason jar full of anointing oil. Every harsh word you say is a drop of oil that falls to the ground. And if you argue enough, you'll arrive on the 23rd with an empty jar. So, choose silence when your mouth wants to scream. Choose retreat when your ego wants to win. Choose peace when your pride wants war. Second recommendation, reduce distractions as much as possible. This means less social media, less news, less empty entertainment. You don't need to isolate yourself from the world, but you need to protect yourself from the noise of the world. Because noise scatters your focus, and you need to be concentrated. The 22nd is a day for spiritual focus, not for consuming information. Padre Pio lived in an age without the internet, without television, without smartphones. But he already knew that distraction is the enemy's weapon. He used to say, "The devil doesn't need to make you sin to destroy you. He just needs to distract you, because a distracted soul doesn't pray, doesn't meditate, doesn't perceive the presence of God. And on the 22nd, you need to perceive that presence more than ever." Third recommendation, eat simply. You don't need to fast strictly, unless you feel an inner calling to do so. But avoid excesses, avoid heavy foods, avoid alcohol, avoid anything that dulls the mind or overloads the body, because the body and soul are connected, and a heavy body pulls the soul down. Padre Pio fasted drastically. There were days when he ate only a consecrated host, but he didn't demand that of others. What he demanded was sobriety, was moderation, was respect for the body as a temple of the Spirit. And on the 22nd, that respect is even more important. Fourth recommendation, do at least one act of charity. It can be small. It can be a sincere smile for someone sad. It can be a coin for someone in need. It can be a word of encouragement for someone who is discouraged. It can be forgiving someone who has hurt you. What matters isn't the size of the act, it's the loving intention behind it. Padre Pio taught that charity on the 22nd is like placing the last brick in the wall of spiritual protection. All the other bricks you laid in the days before, but the last brick, which closes and seals the structure, is the act of love for your neighbor, because there is no spiritual protection without love. And there is no genuine love without concrete action. Fifth recommendation, go to bed early on the night of the 22nd for the 23rd. Don't stay awake late for no reason, because sleep on the eve has a special spiritual quality. It's as if God works on you while you sleep, preparing your soul for what will come the next day. And if you sleep late, you shorten that time of divine preparation. Padre Pio slept little, sometimes only 2 or 3 hours a night. But on the eves of special days, he withdrew earlier, even if he didn't sleep deeply. He understood that nocturnal recollection is a form of prayer. It's you saying to God, "I trust you so much that I can close my eyes and rest, knowing that you are taking care of everything." So, on the 22nd, after doing the sealing, the confirmation, the vigil, after avoiding arguments, reducing distractions, eating simply, doing charity, you withdraw early. Pray that Hail Mary, asking for Mary's protection during the night, and sleep in peace, sleep confidently, sleep sealed. And when you wake up on the 23rd, you wake up different. You don't necessarily feel something physical. Don't expect lights, voices, visions. The sealing is invisible to the physical eyes, but it's perceptible to the soul. You wake up with an inner certainty that something is different, something has been done, something has been sealed, and now it's time to receive. How do you receive on the 23rd? That's a subject for another video. But I can give you a hint. You receive by being present. You receive by attending Mass, if possible. You receive by praying a rosary. You receive by being attentive to the signs, because heaven responds, but not always in the way we expect. Sometimes the answer comes through a person, sometimes through a circumstance, sometimes through an inner peace, and sometimes the answer takes days, weeks, even months to manifest completely, but it always comes. For those who pass through the door of the 22nd, and now, before finishing, I want you to do something. Comment down below now if you're going to do the ritual on the 22nd. Comment prepared if you're going to do the complete ritual at dawn with the 3 elements. Or comment emergency if you need to know more about the alternative protocol that works until noon. I want to see how many souls will pass through the door this year, and I want you to commit publicly, because public commitment strengthens intention. So go ahead, comment now, prepared or emergency. Which are you?